Every morning the world starts quietly, one soft light at a time. Homes flicker awake, shops open. People take those first small steps into a brand new day. And in all of that ordinary movement, there's something kind of extraordinary. A moment worth noticing, a spark you feel before you even name it. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's small, but kindness shows up right on time. And every morning we choose to show up with you so we can look for that spark together.
Good morning. I'm Matt Rouff, the Uncommon Kindness Guy, and this is Kindness Rising. Let's rise together.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to Kindness Rising. Some mornings we dive into subjects deeply. We get a little emotional sometimes. We talk about leadership. We talk about culture. We talk about purpose and all of our six strings of living. And then there are days where you're just like, you know what? Today we're going to just tell some stories and we're going to stay kind and still rise above. But we're not solving any major world problems. We're just going to do something a little bit simpler. We're just going to tell stories that prove the point which is that humanity is not broken. It's just underreported because the algorithm will feed you chaos, but kindness is happening all around us quietly. Sometimes a little louder than others, but quietly. So today we are talking about this. Our episode is called Random Acts of Awesome. 5 stories that might restore your faith in people before you finish your coffee. That's what I was trying to say. Welcome in. Say hello in the comments. Get involved. Maybe we'll do a little music. Anybody up for our music? Let's see. We haven't done this one in a while. All right, a little more upbeat. That's a good one. Good morning, Roseanne. It was good to see you. I am glad you are here. If you're out there in the world of Kindness Rising and the Mornings in the Lab Network, come on in and say hello. Glad you have chosen to join us right here on Kindness Rising, the morning dose of hope, humanity, and heart. Say hello in the comments, and we're going to get to our 5 stories that will restore your faith in people before you finish your coffee. So stick around. Thank you so much. Come say hello in the chats. All right. You know, here's something about the internet. The internet works and the world works because this is the way stories work. Stories move people to action, or they connect people, and there has to be a conflict. And sometimes the conflict becomes the point of the crescendo, the climax, whatever that story is. We love stories, but kindness tends to move quieter. It's in that under the story line. It's just gentle and shows up every day. Every day it shows up in the way that we do things. But what's interesting is it's not a straight line. It's actually a pebble that drops into that lake, whatever you want to say, and it grows in those concentric circles of ripples of kindness. It's happening in neighborhoods, on roadsides. It's the ripple effect of kindness, and sometimes it happens in weird ways, in unusual ways, in some weird places, like maybe someone secretly dressing up their neighbor's porch goose. You guys know about a porch goose? I had never heard of a porch goose until this story hit my radar, but apparently a porch goose in the Midwest United States, it's a thing where you have your porch goose and it sits there. It brings luck or whatever. It's supposed to bring happiness, because in this case, it actually absolutely did. This was in Missouri, where a woman noticed her neighbor had one of those Portuguese. I'm trying to get my screen to share and share alike. There's Portuguese lady. Woman's secret act of kindness takes an emotional turn after neighbor discovers her identity. It was an exclusive for people, and we're covering it here on Kindness Rising. You see this woman with her Portuguese. Her name is Emily Williamson, and they bought their house about a year ago, and they started walking by this house whose goose was sitting on the porch, and just to do the neighborly thing, she started dressing the goose. The goose was just sitting there naked, so she would add little outfits to the goose, seasonal outfits, scarves, holiday clothes, whatever would be her fancy. And she'd just quietly leave them, and the neighbor had no idea who was doing it. But when they found out, and the way they found out each other, that's where the story gets meaningful. You see, the neighbor's father had passed away, and it was his goose, and he loved that goose. And this Emily Williamson's tiny acts of kindness, dressing up that goose, brought comfort to that family. She didn't know it. She didn't know that the father had died and it was his goose, but they let her just go ahead and do that because it was something important to her, right? Important to them. And then they discovered who she was based on something she had written in one of her notes or something. And they sent her back a little surprise. They were selling the house that the father had that goose on, and the goose wasn't going to be there anymore. So you can imagine her surprise when she received a note, and they're keeping their own goose, but they gave her a little something, and that's the story of the kindness goose. The kindness goose that kept on giving the golden egg, because that woman just decided that was what she was going to do. All right. Thanks for coming on in and listening to my ridiculous stories. Not ridiculous stories. They're actually kindness stories. I hope they serve you well as you think about things in the way that things can touch people without even knowing. And I'm talking about emotionally touching people without them knowing, without them understanding. These are the stories. These are the reasons that we get up with kindness every day, because these are the stories that don't get heard. They're out there, but they're certainly not reaching the Google top trends, right? You got to look for them a little bit. And that's one thing I'm doing right here, is try to give people a place to find them. So let's move on to that second story. I hope that one went well, and I'll be interested in your feedback, your thoughts on these stories. I have heard from some of you that you want quicker stories and things other than just my my ideas, which I think are pretty good ideas, which I hope are helpful and advising. But people are looking for other ways to start their day with kindness, and I think that's a great thing. Although it looks like nobody's there. I am glad that you came out here to Kindness Rising. Let's get some more music going, maybe. A little more music. We were having fun with music. This one's a little... All right. Here comes story number 2, story of our random acts of awesomeness for sure, happened in a classroom, a 4th grade classroom of all places. I think it's amazing that sometimes kids can really show us what we're missing. Let's bring that music down a little bit. You know, like maybe it's a little on the loudish. All right. What happened in a 4th grade classroom was one of the students had been feeling really down about herself, not feeling great, and she had expressed that in both verbal and nonverbal ways. And the teacher reports, the teacher of that classroom, that the kids noticed. So they decided to do something without being told by their teacher. The entire class covered her desk with sticky notes, messages like, "You're amazing, you're brave, you matter." And when she walked in and saw that desk covered in encouragement, she burst into tears. Of course she did. She hugged her classmates and she said this: "When I started walking up to it and I saw so many kind notes, I am trying to get my other thing. When I saw so many kind notes, I was just so happy. Just so happy. Absolutely. I'm trying to do this here." Here's her 4th grade. 4th grade story of a girl. This little girl. Sophia Campbell in Joanne Miller's class. Yes, I'm revealing my sources. My source is People Magazine. I mean, sometimes you just want to be People Magazine. I don't know. I always liked People Magazine. But, yeah, you guys all saw that, right? I'm practicing my 4th grader feeling down. There she is. Some stock photography in a Geico ad. No, I am kidding. Trying to keep it light today, but it's so sweet. This little girl. It wasn't even a second. It was just a millisecond before I started crying and laughing. I was just so amazed that I was appreciated. I know I'm smart. I'm amazing. So many feelings. I mean, what joy can we hear from a 10-year-old? A 10-year-old who her and her friends are showing us the way to kindness. Okay. Trying something a little different here on Kindness Rising this morning. I hope you guys are having fun getting up and getting after it a little bit with some of our positive stories, thoughts, and ideas for the day for that ripple effect. A little bit different kind of a program today than what we typically do, right? I like it when I do this. Throw in the curveball. Get off of my preaching. Sometimes I feel like I'm preaching. I feel like I'm doing more teaching than preaching. And yes, Mom, I am touching my nose. So anyway, I am glad that you guys have chosen to come and join me here. Get involved in the comments. Get involved in the chat. Say hello. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the Mornings in the Lab Network. Check us out at Mornings in the Lab for sure. And the Mitl Network, also MITL Network for sure, is where we are at, and I will be talking more about that as we continue to develop and grow. But we are building the world's first, only, and greatest streaming network to help people get up and after it in the morning. Morning is the time of day when we all gather together. The last time, maybe the first time of the day, and then we all go our own separate ways in the world. But as we're all getting up and getting our day started, morning is that time when we're hearing our stories, we're connecting, and we're setting our agenda for the day. How the morning goes, so goes the rest of our day. And that's what we do here in the mornings in the lab. We get your day started in the right direction with all of our shows. Kindness Rising, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, every weekday morning. Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern, live, and replays after that on the Mornings in the Live, in the Mornings in the Lab Network channel. And of course, today is a special day because it is Wednesday, and at 8:30 a.m., you're going to get a chance to spend some time with our friend Cheryl at It Starts With Joy Live. So come on, join the Mornings in the Lab Network. Check out all of the programs associated with us and more to come. More programs, more segments, more guests, all the stuff that people are telling us they want to see and hear from us on the only morning network, morning live streaming network. That's what we're building. We've got the studio, we've got the network, we've got all the tech. If you want to be part of Mornings in the Lab Network, all you have to do is show up. We'll help you. We've got it figured out. 2+ years, going on 4 years for Keith, building this kind of thing. A year, going on a year in for myself. John, 2 years. We are ready for you. We've got the team, we've got the people. You can own the morning, so come on out and join us for sure. Let's move on to our third story. You guys know about the sinkhole? The sinkhole saviors, the ladies basketball team, women's basketball team. University of here. University of here. I love that. That was great. This one's from the New York Post, though. The New York Post, University of Nebraska, Omaha. Absolutely. These ladies, Olivia Borzyrski and Esra Kurban. One happens to be German and the other was from another place, but they're here on scholarships and playing basketball at University of Nebraska, Omaha. And they got to take a look at this. You guys can watch that go down while okay, where is it? Got myself in a bunch here. Looks like you guys are seeing that. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. I think you saw it. I'm pretty sure you did get to see those two vehicles absolutely go down in the hole. So I'm going to stop it there. Well, what would you have done if you saw that happen? Holy moly. Apparently that hole was like 30 feet wide and 10 to 15 feet deep, in those two cars sunk right into it, just sitting at a red light. But then you see what happens. Our friends come over and I'll try to zoom it. All right. This is what happens when I start playing with these things. The point is that Olivia and Esra they didn't just drive by. They stopped. They came over. They actually helped lift those people out of the hole, out of the sinkhole. And when reporters asked her about it, this is what I love when people do these kinds of things. You see these things. That was pretty amazing. She gets down. She lifts the guy up out of the hole. When other people just stood around, those two ran in. And later, when reporters asked her about it, she was like, helping people should just be normal. And in the article, she talks about how it's just what they do. They do that, and she was in Germany, and I forget where the other young lady was from, and they did notice that they were surprised that it took people so long to react to help these people. I mean, I understand we freeze and that kind of thing too, but I think there is something about our culture that holds us back from helping. Sometimes we know that we watch people who are willing to videotape stuff but aren't going in to help, right? Or they turn away entirely from it. We've seen this too. So I just thought that was an interesting story to talk about kindness, their kindness. They don't see it as heroism. For them, it was just normal behavior. So thank you again for joining here at Kindness Rising. Today, we are just bouncing around some stories, playing some music along the way to see. All right. How about this one? This one, Sunrise Mover. All right, good. And we're sunrise moving today here on Kindness Rising for sure. Get involved in the comments. Say hello, Jason Bender, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Be sure to look like quarterback Brett Favre. All right. Big fan of Brett Favre out there. All right. Not necessarily my guy, but I wish you the best of luck with Brett Favre. And just glad you have chosen to come here and spend some time. And next, we're going to move on to another story. Thought I was, but apparently not. Okay. Story. Okay, this is a good one. We'll just talk about it. Absolutely. I remember, this is our little Gen X nostalgia good time story. Being as a kid, in the 70s and 80s, I think there was a bit of a, my take, movement, right? The environmental movement, for lack of a better way of putting it, was so big. It was so entrenched in my memory, at least. Of course, the crying Native American polluting the waters. You had Smokey Bear, right? And the bald eagle. I remember so much focus being on this conservation and the bald eagle, but I never really understood it, I don't think, as a child the way I do now. Back in the 60s and 70s, it was bleak. It was bad for the bald eagle. Maybe people don't know that. Habitat loss, hunting, and the pesticide DDT, those factors combined to collapse the bald eagle population. Fewer than 500 nesting pairs were left in the entire United States. 500 for our national bird. And then the alarm was sounded. People pushed for change. DDT was banned. The habitat protections were put in place to help these nesting eagles. And people together began actively protecting the eagle's nest. And today we now have more than 70,000, from 500 to 70,000 nesting pairs of bald eagles across the United States. From the brink of extinction to soaring over lakes, rivers, and forests all across the country again. It's one of the great wildlife recoveries in conservation history, and it's a reminder of something important. When humans decide to protect something instead of exploit it, nature has an incredible ability to recover. And that's the story of kindness. It's not about people, it's about how we care or it is about people though. It's about how we care for the world around us. And honestly, seeing an eagle soaring ahead is still one of the most awe-inspiring sights there is if you have ever seen it, which makes it not just a conservation story, it's a story of hope and a story of kindness. So thank you so much for joining us here on Kindness Rising. We're thinking about our national bird, the bald eagle. All right, have you guys ever seen one in real? Like, we have an eagle that flies right near the lake on which our family has a home, and it's awesome. It's awesome. It's amazing. We've seen that bird dip into the lake and grab fish out of it. It's nesting in the tree right outside. And yes, I'm talking about the importance of it for us because in our family, we have a belief in the spirit animal, and that spirit animal, that bald eagle, sitting at our home is definitely my father's spirit. So that's just a little insight into the way we think in our house. But that bald eagle, if you ever have a chance to see it, absolutely one of the most majestic and awe-inspiring things you could see when you see it just soar. It's pretty amazing. I hope every person in the world gets a chance to see the bald eagle very, very close. It's amazing. All right. Enough of this crazy music. We're having a lot of fun today here on Kindness Rising. For me, it's flying. I want to get one last story, and it's an important story. It's an important story. I got to get it in here. See this book, everybody? I've held up other books before. This is Robert R. McCammon's Boy's Life. Why is this book important to me? Because of another act of kindness, a personal act of kindness that affected me 30 plus years ago at this point, I think. I don't know. It was the mid-90s for sure. I was a young man traveling around visiting friends who had gone out from college into the world to Boston, and I went to DC, and some went to New York. Others went back to their small town homes, whatever it was, but we scattered about. And of course, being where I'm from, New York City was a very attractive place in our mid-20s, and a number of people moved there, and but nobody could afford to live in New York. So they all moved, and many of them moved to Hoboken, New Jersey. Hoboken, New Jersey, right across the river from the city. And I've talked about him before. My best friend in the world since I was 18 years old, John Romano, had buddies who lived in that area, and we went down to go down and party and hang out, or whatever the case may be. We're walking through the streets of Hoboken, New Jersey, and one of his friends, a man named Bill Paquin. This story is for Bill Paquin, who dropped into one of my lives, and I wanted to make sure he knows that I know who he is. Come on, dude. He's dropped in one of my lists. I knew you 30 years ago. Paquin, I know you, and this is how I know you. You turned me on to this book, buddy. Robert McCammon's Boy's Life, one of my favorite books, top 5, honestly, in my life. And the copy, you bought me a copy of that book, and you said, if you will read it, Rouff, I will buy it for you. Right now, I was on a street, probably $2 on the street somewhere, and you bought it for me, and I read it, and then I lost it, and I was pissed. But I was walking through my neighborhood one day, and we have one of those little free libraries. That's what the story is about. I open up that door of that little free library sitting in front of the church, and there's this copy, which is the exact same edition, exact same copy that was gifted to me by Bill Paquin in the middle 90s. That was an act of kindness by him. Bill Paquin, that story was for you as we wind down, and I'll make sure that you see this because, of course, I remember you, Bill. Thank you so much for remembering me here on Kindness Rising, and I'm glad for everyone who has shown up here. Thank you again for joining me on Kindness Rising. We come here every weekday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern on the Mornings in the Lab Network. Now get on over to Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friend. keep an eye out for those moments of encouragement, the moments of courage, the moments of humor, and the moments of care. And until tomorrow, stay uncommon and stay kind. What if your mornings could be inspiring and ridiculously fun?
Kindness Rising isn't just a show, it's a full wake-up vibe.
It's freaking fun, people.
Yeah, man, it's got real get-after-it energy.
I love it.
Wake up with Kindness Rising.
I help purpose-driven people grow their impact. 5-ingredient recipe to help you build your personal brand. Get out there and take kind action.
If it's live, they'll feel it.
On Kindness Rising, we bring you proven strategies and fresh ideas you can actually use. If you're not failing, you're not trying.
Exactly. Fail fast, rebound faster.
You'll see the bloopers and the genuine connections that make kindness contagious. We sometimes get into a little bit of trouble.
Pretty much my life made the list.
You can trust what you see right here is honest, respectful, and uplifting. Social impact organizations, and we always talk about them. Try kindness. It's way cheaper than therapy. You just made my day.